We're almost halfway through this season, and it's been a real roller coaster ride for the Fresh Tracks crew. But I'm excited because this next hunt is in my home state of Montana, chasing elk with my son Matthew. But before we go, I'm going to carve out a little time and do my part to ensure we'll have plenty of great elk hunting in Montana and elsewhere for years to come. Well, here I am. I'm at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation Life and Sponsor event here in Bozeman, Montana. We're going to raise a lot of money tonight, and we're going to put more elk on those mountains right there and there and there and there. No organization does more for the future of elk and elk habitat than the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. And anytime I can help RMEF raise money or simply raise awareness, count me in. I'm ready and willing to do whatever I can. So the days of counting on the government or agencies to fund conservation is a thing of the past. The only way it's going to happen is by all of you. We're going to have to shoulder the load. We're going to have to work harder. We're going to have to donate more. We're going to have to give more of our time, more of our energy, and not accept no. That's not going to be an answer that we can take. If we fail, the legacy we leave will not be the legacy that we want.
$500 even money where? Five, put them at five, put them at $500 bet. $100 right here, 1 1/4 there, 1 1/2, 1 1/2, put them at 150. 175 great, 175, so dock your way. $300 even money.
With another successful event in the books, it's time to get back to where I really belong, in the mountains, hunting elk.
As long as we can clear the hill, I know you'll set us down south.
If I can get it.
But on this hunt, a couple things have me really excited. The first is, and I guess it's kind of obvious, this is not my normal mode of transportation. And second, my companion on this amazing hunt is my son, Matthew.
Never been on a helicopter before. Haven't been out hunting for 5 years, so it's definitely an exciting time right now.
My personal opinion is we need more and better access to public lands for public hunters. But there are many tracts of public land, great hunting land, that are completely surrounded by private property, making them inaccessible by foot. Still, it's our land and these are our elk. So I'll apply any creative ideas in my effort to show you ways we can hunt the ground and the animals that belong to all of us.
When these people say, no, you can't cross our land to get to that public land, and I find a way around it, it makes me smile. If people knew how inexpensive that was relative to the opportunity it provides, everybody would be doing it.
We can't hunt the same day we fly, but that's okay. We got plenty to do just setting up our base camp. And we'll need this evening to scout around what is a very challenging piece of ground to be hunting. It's a maze of public ground weaving in, out, and around chunks of private land. So sometimes, just to get from point A to point B is a lot more complicated than how the crow flies.
We're off.
A year ago in these same hills, I found the elk over 6 miles from my camp and spent the night on a hillside just to get a shot at what turned out to be my best archery bull ever. This year, I'm hoping we don't gotta work quite that hard.
Just right out there. 7 years ago, Matthew shot a whopper bull in a unit to the northeast there. And he owns the Newberg family honor of the largest elk, thanks to that one. I know to all of you whose hunting kids are going off to college and they're going out of state, brace yourself for some serious withdrawal problems. I had no idea I'd have such withdrawals when Matthew headed off to college 4 years ago. But I did. I would never admit it to my wife, but I did.
It's the first morning of our Montana elk hunt, navigating a landlocked piece of public ground accessible only by air. This is my third straight year hunting these hills, and the sun can't rise soon enough. Because this year, I'm gonna school the elk the way they've schooled me.
This is where, in archery season, they were hanging here all the time.
The previous 2 hunts, I set up camp on the opposite end of this property and had to hike way over here to find the elk. So, being the smart guy I think I am, this year we set up camp over here. So I'm convinced that when the sun comes up, we're gonna be covered up in elk. But as usually happens, the elk almost never read the script.
I see these elk out here, Matthew, and I can tell that a bunch of them are bulls. With this rain coming in, and we got to go a mile that way to get around the private, and then 2 miles down just to go a mile over here.
The morning rain and wind washed out any visibility.
Let's get off this wind-blown mess of a thing we got going here.
So we headed back to camp to wait out the weather. That afternoon we returned to the ridge, but the elk were still miles away.
Well, Matthew, what we're gonna do is, if you're gonna go up here in Glass, I'm gonna circle around this hill, go down in that canyon and come out to that other flat. Because I just wanna have that marked in the daylight. If we're going all the way over there in the morning, we don't wanna be doing that in the dark.
I know that those elk are consistent in their pattern in this area. And if they are gonna consistently stay way to the south, then I gotta go and scout this trail for the next morning. I've done this enough times that if I'm gonna go on a hike the next morning, I wanna have that marked on my GPS. So I did it. I bailed off that ridge, I lost 700 feet of elevation, crossed this canyon, find where you gotta gain the other 400 feet, and then backtrack and came back up to the rock that Matthew was on. And a lot of people would say, you would do that just as a scouting exercise? Well, that's how you end up killing elk.
And it's taken me about an hour and 15 minutes just to go 0.8 miles. It's the worst 0.8 miles of the whole trip, but still, it's a lot of work. Seems like no matter when I fly into this place, if I decide to camp over there, the elk are down over there. If I camp over there, the elk are over here. We've got a huge grunt ahead of us in the morning. What do you see, Matthew?
What's that?
What do you see?
Just 3 out there. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this right now, we aren't going on that hike if there's only 3 of them.
So I'm like, oh man, all of that work and we can't find these bulls again today. And fortunately, just before dark, out over to the southeast, here comes just a swarm of elk out of the trees. Like, oh, are those really elk? Yeah, they were.
Old elk hunters know that no matter what plans you bring with you, in the end, success often comes by letting the elk make the decisions for you. Past hunts led me to this campsite, but the elk just aren't here. So as tough as it's gonna be, if we wanna kill one, we're gonna have to go to them. Dawn in the mountains of Montana finds my son, Matthew, and me finishing our 3-hour hike in the darkness from our base camp to an area where a big herd of elk had fed the night before. this time, our gamble pays off.
I'll strain them up coming up this way.
Finally, we get there, and off in the distance, you can hear bugling and cow calling, and it is a ruckus like, it's crazy.
This is why you get up at 4:45 in the morning and you hike for, we've been hiking for over 3 hours. No, we've been hiking 3 hours almost exactly. Oh, there's a big one down there. Holy cow.
We keep going out and we come out on this little finger of pines, and there's elk straight out here, there's elk way over there. I mean, lots of them. But there's this one bull, he's got 2 cows, and he keeps coming, and he'd only get within about 400 yards, but unfortunately, he's still on private. And I was so much hoping he'd come walking right down below us, because if he would have, he was a monster.
If that big one gets over here, I'll give you $50 if you let me shoot him. He's coming straight for us. We want to be out on the end of these trees here for sure.
I mean, this was a long pursuit of how much time elapsed. We could see the elk mingling, and I told Matthew, if we sit here, they're gonna leave us. So we grabbed our packs and we take off, and there was this other little knoll. I thought if we got up to that knoll, we'd have it. Well, we get there, and I look, and now they're even further out there.
I'm gonna go back and go around again. They're going that way.
So I drop back down that knoll, and it's just go.
Let's get to that next tree. Ready? When I say go get to that next tree. See them all coming through there. Never thought I'd say too many elk. They got us pinned down.
So now we're getting close. I had this little gap from these pine trees to those pine trees. I'd guess it was 30 yards across there. And I can see elk out in front of me, so I'm going, and all of a sudden I feel this tug on the back of my neck. It's one of the camera guys. Randy, right there.
There's a bunch of them right here, though. Hold on, Matthew, wait. Sit your butt. Get your butt. Get one in and get your bipod out. Let's move up closer. Come here.
And now I've only got like 10 yards, and I get up there and I look, and through this gap in the trees, I can see a really nice 6-point. He's just looking around. He's the closest elk to us.
Matthew, look at that big one right there. See him right there in the middle. Big one. See that one right there? The one right in the middle, Randy. We're gonna have to make a decision, Matthew. Do you want him or not? Let me get another side.
So I scoot over and I get set up and make sure that everything's all right, make sure that the shot's good.
Wait till they tell him when.
He's broadside, and so the shot's good, and I'm about to pull, and then I notice that there's another elk coming from the side that's about to obstruct.
Nice shot. Nice shot, Matthew. Great shot. Follow me, Mason, in case there's another good one out here.
Matthew says, well, Dad, look at that one coming off the ridge over there. I look, I range it, I'm like, oh man, that's 450 yards. I'm not taking that shot right now. I want something closer.
He's coming this way, come on, keep coming.
So this bull, instead of going to the west like all the other elk did, he's kind of a straggler, bringing up the rear. He gets up to the ridge and he turns and he does a 90 degree, he drops down the ridge and he starts coming towards me. He's coming, and he's coming. I don't know, it's almost like it happened really fast, but yet it happened really slow.
If he turns broadside, I'm gonna shoot him.
Almost as quick as that thought entered my mind, the bull turned broadside. It's like he's thinking what I'm thinking.
How's that for a twofer? Yeah, baby!
I don't care who you are and how big a bulls or how small a bulls they are. If you get to shoot 2 elk out of one group with wonderful, perfect broadside setups, that's beyond anything I could ask for.
Let's grab our packs and get down there.
Oh, Matthew, 2 in 1 herd.
Yeah.
Look at that. You can see them, they're dead 100 yards apart.
It was the first time in all the elk hunting I've ever done that I walked up to one bull and I could see the other bull laying there.
It always seems like when Matthew's with me, I get a good streak of luck. And this year was, well, you'll see them. We had a really tough Nevada hunt, a really tough Alaska hunt, and we're rolling again. We are back on it.
It was a great time for me. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I took the week off work to come out here and do this probably once-in-a-lifetime hunt.
What do you say we go over that way and check out your bull?
Sounds good to me.
I know my dad gets to do this all the time. He gets to go around the country and hunt for a living, but unfortunately I don't have that luxury, so getting to come out here and go hunting for a week with my dad is just something that I'll cherish forever.
Cool, Matthew.
There we go.
Oh. Look at that, huh? You got 7 on that side.
I know. They're all a little busted up and whatever, but I don't really care. I was not here to shoot Boone and Crockett bulls. The time I had with my son, coming back and hunting again, that was a record book experience.
Well, Matthew, we got some work ahead of us and some picture taking, and you get to go back to the real world.
Go back and see Mom, make her happy.
Well, yeah, you better see your mom, and then I gotta go to Colorado.
Yeah.
And if I can get half this lucky in Colorado, I'm gonna have a big smile. I don't know how to tell it in words, folks, but when you get to hunt with your family, it is so special. Any one of you who have teenage kids, hunt with them every day you can, because someday they're going to be 22 like him, and you're going to miss it. Trust me. You're going to have withdrawals. You're going to walk around the house like a lost dog. But when they do get out of college and they come home, it makes it pretty damn sweet.